Hello, everyone. We're just going to do a quick mic video test and see if it works on Twitter.
Hey.
Okay.
Hi, Tony. Hey.
Hey, welcome everyone.
Welcome everyone. Yeah, I think we are live on Twitter. Everything works. StreamYard is set up. I'm happy to, first of all, we are all happy to announce this partnership. I think it's a very important one for both projects. And today with us, so my name is Tony. I'm the head of content and community for JaegerAI, the company behind GenLayer. With us today, we have JW, who is the CEO and founder of Heurist. And we also have Edgar Snemsche, who is the CPO and co-founder of JaegerAI. Same as for myself, the company behind GenLayer. I'm happy that you're here, guys. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having us, Tony.
Both teams have worked together for quite a while now, and I think it's important to kind of introduce GenLayer and Heurist to those who are not aware of these two projects, and then maybe we can chime in a little bit on the specifics of this partnership and kind of go to our main topic, which is decentralized AI. Why does it matter? What does it mean? A lot of people in crypto are still confused about the term. It's being used so broadly, and I think that there's no better founders than you two guys to explain this. So maybe we can start. As we GenLayer are the hosts, maybe JW, you can start by introducing Heurist, and then Edgars can continue with GenLayer.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. Heurist is a decentralized cloud that we source GPUs from distributed data centers and use that to serve AI model inference, AI training services, and higher level AI services. Developers can easily access the power of AI with a simple API SDK to build their application just by plugging into our API, or build AI agents by leveraging our agent framework. So basically, whatever AI developers need, we provide the AI service to them, and it's all serverless. That means they don't need to set up GPU machines themselves, and it's all permissionless, which means there's no traditional Web2 account login, but instead developers, users can all pay in crypto and use that from the blockchain. So we envision ourselves, position ourselves to be a leading decentralized AI inference provider, and right now expanding to serving more AI agents.
Thanks. Edgars, what is GenLayer?
Yeah, thank you, Tony. So GenLayer is, we call it the trust infrastructure for the AI age. It's a new kind of blockchain where the smart contracts, instead of being isolated from the outside world, can connect directly to the internet, fetch any data, and execute natural language instructions using large language models. We call those intelligent contracts. They really break the limitations of the current smart contract paradigm. We like to say that, the easiest way to understand it is that if Bitcoin is trustless money and Ethereum is decentralized applications, then GenLayer is the next level. It's decentralized decision-making, meaning with these intelligent contracts that you have on the GenLayer network, you can resolve complex subjective decisions and disputes and all different kind of queries that are impossible to encode in low-level code. For example, you can build things like, we call it the intelligent oracle. So an oracle without any humans in the loop that can go to any website, fetch any data, use these large language models and the reasoning capabilities to extract any answer. For example, who won the election? Was it raining yesterday in Lisbon? Anything like that. So let's say you want to build a prediction market or a parametric insurance protocol or anything like that. You can use it to build decentralized autonomous organizations that are actually decentralized and autonomous. So again, instead of humans having to make every decision, the DAO itself can have a constitution that's written in natural language where it can make its own decisions, evaluate proposals, issue grants and bounties, and really automate and speed up DAO governance and protocol governance. You can use it to do different things like performance-based contracting, where, imagine like a decentralized Fiverr, where instead of some human dispute resolver that's slow and expensive, AI is making this decision in a trustless and transparent way, basically. So it's a new paradigm. It's a new generation of smart contracts that are internet connected, that can execute natural language instructions, do arbitration, and resolve different kinds of disputes. That's a super brief introduction. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah. And Edgars, can you, before JW dives into kind of the numbers we had here, I'm going to repeat them afterwards because I think they're very important, especially considering open source and decentralized AI. Can you explain how and what the importance is for us and for Heurist integrating Heurist decentralized cloud into GenLayer?
Yes, 100%. So that goes a little bit into the mechanics behind GenLayer, because something that we realized while designing this system is that we're going to discuss about AI decentralization at all kinds of different levels, but one of the levels actually is that each individual model itself has its own biases, is a probabilistic system that can be wrong, can be tricked, maybe it doesn't want to answer some specific things that's different by model to model. So each model itself, each AI, is already a subjective entity. It's not objective. You wouldn't want to trust all your decision making to a single model, the same way you wouldn't want to trust all your decision making to a single dude, somewhere sitting, making all the decisions and judgments and all the. So we realized we want to decentralize that. We built this system that allows many different large language models work together to come to a consensus about these kind of decisions that I describe, all these different use cases, fetching data from the internet, what's the right or wrong answer in some prediction market, who's right in this dispute, anything like that. And instead of trusting a single model, we've combined the intelligence of many different models through this consensus protocol. And so the importance for Heurist as our partner in this setup is that we want our validators in the network to run many different large language models in many different systems and setups, and decentralized and centralized ones, and enable them to decentralize this next level. So we want AI decentralization at every level, all the way from inference itself, how you run the models, how you train them, everything like that, but ultimately also in this decision-making level, where then you can really go from some model that's 95% accurate that maybe has its biases to a system of many different models working together, where you can really start to trust it 100% to make decisions with money on the line. So Heurist is an important partner that enables our validators to run all these different models in a fully decentralized fashion on a decentralized infrastructure.
Thanks, Edgars. And I've mentioned it. We have some numbers on this partnership, and actually you can see that. And JW, this question goes to you. Feel free to chime into the importance for you guys as well, if you feel that not everything has been covered. But if you look at the numbers, it's really impressive. Like I was surprised when we had these numbers. I was like 18% of studio devs deploy on Heurist decentralized cloud. That's number 2, which is amazing. What was also pretty unique for me is like 50-50% split between Llama and Mistral, so there's no clear winner there. And in general, 40% of our developers choose open source inference. Like what do these numbers tell you? Like what do you make of them?
Yeah, I'm happy to see that developers love open source models, just like they use OpenAI or cloud, those closed source models. They can alternatively choose open source and reach almost equivalent performance and better cost savings. So that has been validated in many of our customers, that they didn't observe that although in some cases OpenAI and cloud models do have better performance, but in many other cases people still choose open source because of the cost savings and because of the transparency of the models, and also because of the lack of censorship, or there's some ways to reduce the censorship. I'm not saying eliminating censorship, but reducing. And some open source models do provide censorship-free experience. So the diversity of the open source models prevail over closed source. That's one observation. Another is also happy to see that 18% of developers on GenLayer Studio are using Heurist. So that means we have made our user onboarding experience quite smooth, although we are like a small open source AI company project and utilizing decentralized compute resources, but none of this will make the user experience more complex. But instead, those users can easily access our AI services with a simple API, and that is fully compatible with the OpenAI standard. That means they can basically apply for an API key or purchase some API credits from our developer portal, and then after acquiring an API key, directly use that in Generative Studio or other applications. So the whole experience is smooth and fully compatible with the traditional Web2 workflow. So that's a very important lesson for us, is that we will continue to simplify the developer experience and make it easy for people to use decentralized resources just as well as they use Web2 services. And yeah, also interesting to see that there's like 50-50 split between Llama and Mistral. Yeah, so the open source world, there are multiple leading players in this world, and none of them is like taking over a significant market share. That's more, we value the equality and we value the diversity in the open source world.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, there's always new models coming out every day, right? So it's really moving super fast. I also want to second, the big reason for this is really the ease of access for getting started with Heurist, because when our developers are setting up the studio development environment, they get to choose, do they want to bring their OpenAI API key or kind of Anthropic API key or go to Heurist. And, we have developers all over the world, and the ease of use with Heurist is quite important, I think, globally, where you don't need a credit card, you don't need to, get approved sometimes, even depending on the model provider. Not everybody can even get the API key for some of these closed source model providers. So it's very easy for people to get started with Heurist in the GenLayer Studio. So that's why we're seeing a lot of developers choosing that.
Yeah, and surprise, surprise, we've also seen some DeepSeeks, right, already. It's crazy, right? You think you've seen everything, and I mean, you guys are way more involved with AI and AI models and the understanding behind that than me. But you think you've seen everything, and you think you've seen, multi-billion-dollar, models come up, and then you have DeepSeek that, like, for 10 million. I don't know how much money they really spend at the end of the day. That's apparently as powerful and has the same benchmark levels as other AI models. There's so much money went into, and I don't know if you would agree, but I think we haven't seen everything so far. Like, the next few years will probably get even crazier.
100%. I think this is, more broadly looking at it, this is what it feels like to be on the exponential curve of a new technology, where maybe people are kind of starting to get worried. Oh, is pre-training, how much money you put into the training phase of the model, that's kind of starting to level off in terms of gains, and then somebody else comes along with a new technique, this kind of chain of thought integrated directly into the model, and that's that next boost in performance. So you have this, it keeps going exponential. You keep thinking maybe it's going to stop, but no, it's going to keep getting faster and faster.
Yeah,
for sure. We haven't seen the end of it, so it was a really exciting development.
Second days.
Yeah. I will just, before we continue and we take the next 20 minutes to explain a little bit what decentralized AI is and why it matters, I will just drop a link here in the chat for everyone to download the POAP Home app. At the end of the live stream, I'm going to share for everyone who's either in our Discord or Telegram, which you can find in the Twitter bio. I will share a secret phrase. I will share it here in the chat as well, so everyone can download the POAP, mint the POAP. I just see that the link, so I'm gonna share both of them separately. So this is one for the Google Play Store, and this is one for the Apple Store. Okay, hey guys, before we move on, maybe I think it's important, because I hear this question a lot of times, is like, first of all, if like a year and a half ago, it feels, at least for me, and again, I think you have more insight into this, no one knew about DAI, decentralized AI. Like, AI was OpenAI, actually. Like 2 years ago, definitely. Like, why is how did we get to the emergence of decentralized AI? What is, maybe one of you can explain, what is centralized AI? Why do we need decentralized AI? And kind of, going from what are the risks associated with centralized AI and why do we think that DAI is important before we go into, how is Heurist doing DAI and how is, GenLayer doing DAI? Whoever wants to start, feel free to.
Yeah, I think the concept of decentralized AI is rooted in open source AI. So that means the AI model are open source and the model weights are open for access. And on top of that, it's even better if the whole training process and the data sets are open source. But yeah, many open models doesn't really publish that. So yeah, let's take a simple definition is that an open source AI model would be those AI models with their model weights accessible to the public. Only by doing this, the general public can spin up a model inference engine on their own machines, on their own data centers to start serving customers. And it can also allow people to fine tune the model because since the model weights are open, they can do whatever they want to modify the model. And that will decentralize the power of the AI model ownership. That means the model is not owned by a small group of people or one single company in the world, but can be hosted by many different people, even on the PC of those many AI hobbyists. They can use their Mac.
Sorry to interrupt you here, JW. So what you're saying is that usually a company like OpenAI would have the weights and the data associated with the AI model, right? Or like what else is there that is decentralized, that constitutes the centralized part?
Yes, the data, the training algorithm, and the model weights. All those are centralized in terms of OpenAI models or other closed source models.
And then, of course, you add on top of that all the queries that people make to the model. Whenever I go into ChatGPT or into Claude and I ask it about some advice about how something is going wrong in my day, I don't know what they're doing with that data. They have some terms of service where if you're for free, then they don't promise you anything. Basically, if you're paying them, then they at least promise to not use that data to kind of train on that. But you don't know for sure. This is just as JW said, it's a group of people, small group of people with full control all across the stack, from how they build the model to how it's being used to what data is going through the model. You have no participation in that or no control in that process.
And now you started, JW, with open source, which I also think is very important, because if you look at the layers of centralization, what part of these layers is actually open source? Is it, as you said, the weights? Is it the storage? Because I think that's very important for people also to understand when we're going into the decentralized space, like what can be decentralized and at what parts are we looking there?
So the main challenge is decentralizing the model weights access. And that might depend on decentralized storage. Like we do use Filecoin storage for storing model weights, but it's also equally available if we just use some centralized storage providers. As long as the weights are public, anyone can download it. Another main aspect is the compute. We use decentralized GPUs provided by worldwide data centers. It's not by a single data center or like an AWS cloud. That means it's more resilient to the censorship, especially regarding the geolocations. Like different countries have different AI policies, and some might prohibit the access of certain AI models in their region. So it's more sensitive, resilient, and also more cost efficient if we have access to worldwide data centers. Actually, we do that by partnering with the leading GPU deepin providers like Akash and Aether and Spheron. They basically have worldwide data centers and also decentralized serving for our AI models. I think that's a major two aspects, compute and storage.
Edgars, can you compare that to, that's kind of, also a little bit of Heurist perspective. Can you compare that to, just to show a different perspective as well, like how we think of the AI.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, JW is absolutely right. It's, the first most important things to decentralize, I think, are these underlying layers. So it's not just a few companies that control all these powerful tools that they can limit access to, or the local governments limit access to. So not everybody, I think the more widely accessible these models are, and people can, access them from anywhere, also modify them, train them, fine-tune them, do all these different things. I think it's a super important thing. As we get these powerful tools, we don't want them to be concentrated in the hands of the few. Where GenLayer steps in is a layer above that. So now that you have these powerful tools, and we have protocols like Heurist helping also make sure that they're decentralized and accessible, well, what do you want to do with them now? You can use them for many, many different things. And in GenLayer, we want to use them for decentralized decision making. What if you have, two parties that want to use the AI to make a decision between them two that's kind of impartial, that they can trust, that they're not afraid that either one of them will be able to bias or can hack, or just it randomly goes wrong or anything like that? How do you actually achieve something like that? Can we just trust, OpenAI? Let's say you and I, Tony, we want to have a contract between us, and we're going to say, okay, well, ChatGPT is going to resolve this contract. Well,
yeah.
First of all, who is actually going to run this ChatGPT instance? What if I run it? What if I cheat it somehow and put in some secret prompt there that you didn't see? How can you trust me that I run it correctly? And also, how can OpenAI kind of take this responsibility if they wanted to offer this as a service? It would be very high stakes for them to be the one and sole arbiter. And what if the model kind of goes wrong? What's happening there, right? So at GenLayer, we built this system that enables these AI models, many different ones of them, to come together to make these decisions in a fully transparent and decentralized way, combining the intelligence of open source, of closed source, of all kinds of models out there, the best models out there, getting proved accuracy that surpasses the accuracy of any single model. And most importantly, that it's actually decentralized and it's trustless. And we can both trust that it's going to be an impartial decision maker that's happening at the speed of AI. So it's not like a human judge. They're pretty good, right? The problem is that it takes a year to go through a court case to get any resolution. It costs you probably thousands of dollars if you're lucky. So here you can have decisions that are made in less than an hour. So it's really the speed of AI, and the cost, dollar to sub few dollars. Again, the inference costs are dropping even faster than I anticipated. But this is happening in a fully decentralized way where we can really have our contract on this platform, and we trust that the resolution is going to be impartial and reliable, and has these mechanisms of appeals and voting and all for the AIs to check each other's output and make sure that it's all correct for every outcome that you want.
I'm just looking at questions in the chat. Diego is asking, could you explain how your approach to layering data and models differentiates you from other AI platforms? Thank you. I think this might be a comment from before. To layering data and models differentiate you from other AI platforms. I think that might have been one for you, JW.
Oh, is it for Heurist, this question?
Yes, I think so.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. Could you explain how your approach to layering data and models differentiates you from other AI platforms? Thank you. Layering data and models, yeah.
So I think Heurist is more on the model serving side, and we mainly deal with models. That means for those open access AI models out there, we serve it with our GPUs in the network, and so we really don't have a data aspect in our protocol, unlike Hugging Face. Like Hugging Face is like a unified platform for data sets, for model weights access, and even for compute. But we just focus on compute.
Okay. Let me check if there's another question. Did this answer your question, Diego? Feel free to drop an answer in the chat as well. I'll make sure to ask another one if there's anything open. Okay, amazing. Like we've talked about Heurist and GenLayer a little bit. If you think of the whole space, in crypto, actually talking about decentralized AI, like what other solutions do you think are important in this aspect? Like, I know that there's decentralized storage solutions for the data. Like, what are we looking at? I mean, there's a lot of them. Like, I know, Edgar's, that you've also been looking at other protocols, like, for instance, BitTensor. Like, what is the difference in all those? They all fall under this category of DAI, but what is kind of the difference between all those projects? Like, could we define it further? Like, are there more categories? What do you think is also important in this niche? Whoever wants to start
definitely.
Again.
So I think the market is just kind of starting to understand what the categories even are. As you said, it's been the EA that launched together a bunch of different things, and I think we're starting to see more clear definition in between the different layers. There's of course decentralized compute for inference, for training, as for example, Heurist are providing this service for the inference part of it. So that's, I think, is important. Once you have these models that are out there open source, how do you serve them? You have players that are looking specifically at the training part. For example, Prime Intellect. I know a few months ago, I think they dropped their first decentralized trained model that was trained across many different kind of data centers working together. I think this is the next big leap on specifically the model creation side. So how do you create these models? Because right now, pretty much all of them, aside from Prime Intellect, have to be trained by a single entity. And then who knows how they got the data? As JW said, they usually don't publish the data even. So the weights are open source, but actually, I wouldn't even consider the model necessarily fully open source because the data that went into it is not open source, and there's been some.
So that part is still kind of centralized.
Yes, exactly. And so, for example, projects like Prime Intellect are working on decentralizing that part. I think that would be a huge leap if we could all work together to create the model and actually co-own the creation of the model. Then, on top of that, you then have these. So these projects at that layer are more, let's say, crypto for AI. How to use crypto economic systems and technologies and blockchains to help create and run these models. Then the other side of the coin is AI for crypto. So now that you have these AI models, what can you do with them inside crypto? So you have different types of projects there as well. So you have agents, and we've seen a lot of buzz in the last few months about AI agents that analyze data. They can maybe hold some assets, they can trade them, they can start to make some profit doing by that. It's super nascent, I would say, but all the technology is being built out of that. We've seen also a lot of them running on Heurist in the backend, and Heurist is their own agent framework for building these agents. These agents also are, I think, an interesting use case is helping people to interact with blockchains, because as many absolutely rightly point out, the UX of using blockchains is still not the best. Let's put it like that. It's quite complex. If you want to, you bridge something from somewhere, this can get really out of hand pretty quickly unless you're really deep into the space. So a lot of these agents are looking to be kind of your personal interface guide to help you do this, where you tell this agent, hey, I wanna swap my ETH for some Uni tokens, right? And then the agent figures out where to do that, how to do that, proposes the transaction, and you can accept it. And then the final stage, I would say, is putting AI into the blockchain itself, where you have a couple of different approaches. A common approach that we've seen across a few different projects, for example, like Ritual, others skip my mind, but you've seen a few approaches, which is taking an AI model and making the execution of it fully deterministic. This is called ZKML or OPML, provable inference. So you take a single model, design a system such that I can say, with this specific input, with this specific random seed, I can prove you that this is the output that we get. This is interesting, I think, especially for smaller types of kind of AI models, maybe some feature-based models, more classical ML. For LLMs, they're quite, for large language models, they're quite limited because one of the cost of generating these proof systems, they put a huge overhead on these models. And then more fundamentally is that once we've done this, we've gone through this work to prove it, it still doesn't actually tell me whether the output was correct. The comparison I like to make is that when a lawyer goes in front of a judge to make their case, the judge doesn't hook up some electrodes to the lawyer's head to check if their brain is working correctly, whatever that means. The judge thinks about, hey, do I agree with what the lawyer said? Is this a good argument? Is this a bad argument? So this is the approach we're taking at GenLayer, where actually we're using the models to check each other's output. So some of the validators propose a result, and then the other validators using their own large language model check the result. And this approach lets us actually check the validity of the output itself, not just the execution process, achieve very high level of accuracy, and lets us use all the latest and greatest and biggest models, closed source, open source, aggregate the intelligence of all of them, and really be on the cutting edge and use it for reliable decision making. That's how I would break down the main category. I probably skipped some category as well. So JW, if I missed anything that's interesting, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, that's almost cover all the categories. The crypto AI or decentralized space has evolved into so many smaller sectors. And I think there's just talking about AI agents alone, there are so many new things evolving in the agent space. And I think the tooling and framework for AI agents is already a really big subcategory, like ELIZA and Virtual's game framework and Arc and Solana, which is evolving into a bigger ecosystem lately. And also like those crypto native infrastructure supporting those agents, like the agents launchpad and other like services around AI agents, they are like another subcategories. Yeah, so yeah, that's almost a lot of those sub or sectors are evolving in this crypto AI space.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and I think what Edgar's and you said, JW, is I think you can see the kind of the stack starting from the bottom, right, with decentralized data storage / inference going up all the way, and then kind of what you mentioned before, Edgar's also having kind of GenLayer, like almost like sitting on top of that, and then using all those different layers below GenLayer. Kind of we could use something that is built on decentralized training with decentralized inference, and then kind of decentralize the full stack from the bottom to the top, which would be
absolutely
pretty amazing.
Yes, exactly. And all our validators can use fully decentralized models, hopefully in the future even decentralizedly trained ones. I don't know if that's a word or not, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then also for these AI agents, they, our big thesis of ours is that right now they're kind of isolated. I mean, they can send tokens around, but that's about it. They're not really interacting with the other agents. So our big thesis of ours is that they're going to be working together with each other. You could imagine there's a website builder agent that I hire to build me a website, and this agent then has to go hire a copywriter agent, and an image generator agent, and a logo creator agent. The same way humans work together. A single person is not doing everything alone. And right now, they don't have a good way to work together. So that's also where GenLayer can come in. They can have these really flexible, powerful contracts that can see the outside world to, basically enter into contracts with each other, do real commerce between different AI agents.
While we are at AI agents, can you see this comment on the screen? Does it show up?
Yeah, it's showing up.
I see it.
Yeah, it's showing. Can GenLayer deploy an agent on Heurist to make me make a bet on my local football tourney in college, I guess? Yeah, whoever wants to answer it.
Yeah, the way it breaks down is that GenLayer would be the component that actually resolves the bet, or where the prediction market would live about this bet. So you could deploy an intelligent contract. We call them intelligent contracts on GenLayer. In fact, this is one of our main examples. So if you just go to studio.genlayer.com and you look at the football prediction market example, you can have this intelligent contract that says, hey, once the date of the game has passed, anybody can resolve this contract. And what it's going to do, all the validators in the GenLayer network will go to bbc.com page where the football scores are listed, pull the score, kind of agree that this is the correct result, and then resolve this bet. Now, the validators that make up this network that are doing the resolution, they can be running Heurist behind the scenes. So they can be using all these open source models, Llama, Mistral, DeepSeek, R1 nowadays even, to make really accurate decisions, kind of read in this data, extract the answer, and then make a really accurate decision. And then on GenLayer, you have this contract that you both can put your money in for this bet, and then once the time comes, it acts as a neutral, trusted third party to make an impartial decision by looking at the web data and resolving this market, and then whoever won the bet gets the money without any humans in the loop, which is how so far all these decentralized prediction markets have had to work.
Yeah, we had one more comment. I just realized the GenLayer X is not pulled directly into the chat, so I'm just going to read it out loud. Sonic the Hedge God, I was thinking of making a prediction market for auctioning the players. I mean, as you said, Edgar, you could pretty much make a prediction market on anything that's out there, right?
Exactly. As long as there's a public data source that all the validators can access, that's one requirement. So it's hard. You cannot make something that's kind of about private data. You need to make it somehow public, or at least with a ZK proof type of system. But in this case, it's fully public data. Oh, there was a trade. This player got traded to this other team. Yes, you could absolutely have a prediction market on GenLayer where the validators go online. They can even, in the near future, figure out where to even look for this answer, try and find it, try and triangulate it from multiple sources. This may be a more advanced use case, but yeah, any topic for which you can get the answer out on the web. AIs are already super good. These large language models are very good about extracting these answers and resolving it correctly with a high level of accuracy for super cheap, super fast compared to having humans do this.
Yeah. JW, do you have anything to add to that? Otherwise, I would just proceed with our POAP code.
Let's proceed to the next one.
Amazing. So I'm gonna show you a code here, which is livestream minus GenLayer with the URL shared to the Apple Store and to the Google Play Store. You can now mint the POAP. And it also shows in our Discord and Telegram group. Before we finish this live stream, I would have two things. I think we can go through this very quickly. The first one is, I'll just start with you, JW. It's just 10-second answers. Your favorite AI model, Claude, Llama, Mistral, GPT, what do you use?
Yeah, I use Llama 3 70B a lot for those casual tasks, and Claude Sonnet 3.5 for developer.
Edgar's?
Claude all the way. I love open source models, but as my personal kind of assistant that I use daily for coding, Claude, and just for general answers, it has good vibes. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Nice. If AI could automate one blockchain task for you, what would it be, JW?
I wish I could just pull up a project or a token taker, and then let AI find all the information and even guide my investment decision on it.
Edgar's?
For me, I remember I spent an hour trying to bridge out some USDC from the Cosmos ecosystem. So if I had an AI agent that can figure this out for me, I would be very, very happy.
Amazing. Maybe built on GenLayer.
Absolutely.
Okay, last one. A bold prediction for AI and blockchain in over the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years.
So I expect more serious companies that is not speculative, that is not token driven, to thrive on the blockchain and powering and using AI as their core business model, not those gambling or just token trading alone.
Yeah, definitely. Edgar's?
For me, well, we're going to hit AGI if we're not there yet already in some respects. We're going to for sure hit that in the next few years. And then I think it's hard to predict anything. Things are going to get so weird. Nobody even knows. So that's my bold prediction.
Amazing. Yeah, as a last call to action, I would like to give both of you just a few seconds to whoever's watching how to get started. For developers, I think JW especially for Heurist, how to plug in, how to use Heurist, and same question to you, Edgar, how to get started as a developer, and then maybe I'll just round it up, and that's it for today.
Yeah, get started using Heurist by visiting our developer docs docs.heurist.ai, and also join our Discord and Telegram group. We have a dedicated Telegram group for builders.
Amazing. I'll display that docs.heurist.ai. That's correct, right?
Thank you so much.
Cool. Edgars.
Yeah, for GenLayer, if you're a developer, 2 main entry points. You can go to studio.genlayer.com to see the hosted version of our development environment with some example contracts. And also, please go to docs.genlayer.com where you will see it's going to explain what's going on, what are these intelligent contracts, how they're written, how to use them. There you also see how you can install the studio locally if you want more control, more performance. And you can, for example, that's where you'll be able to select Heurist as one of the validators that you can run across your multiple diverse validators to really see how it works with many different models working together. So studio.genlayer.com and docs.genlayer.com with 2 separate links, basically. Yeah, and then of course we have our Discord channels and Telegrams. You can find all that on genlayer.com. I'm sure we have links everywhere.
Yeah, we definitely have links in the bio. The formatting is a bit messed up with this application, so I'm just going to leave it with studio.genlayer.com. That's where you can check it out as developers. Otherwise, we always appreciate new community members. As I said before, you can join our Discord, you can join our Telegram. We have really cool activities going on there. You can also mint, once again, with the POAP Home app. You can mint the POAP with the secret password, which is livestream minus GenLayer. You can also join the Heurist communities on Discord and on Telegram. And yeah, I think that's it for today. I think we got a good intro to what is decentralized AI, why does it matter, and also how GenLayer and Heurist are playing their parts in DAI, and talked about the facets of this partnership. I think I can speak for all of us that I'm super happy that this partnership continues, to see Heurist evolve, to see GenLayer evolve. And yeah, I would love to, in the next few months, as we see this partnership evolving and more people using Heurist as well, in the name of decentralized AI and open source AI, I would love to do another live stream.
Thanks so much for hosting this. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Okay, see you. Have a nice day. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Everyone. Bye.
You all. Bye-bye.